Good evening. Welcome to my video tonight where I talk about how I got into YouTube and TikTok, because that is one of the #1 questions I get when I do my TikTok live events. And you can usually see me doing those later at night on the weekends or sometimes even midweek. And I don't want to keep telling people that story because my regular viewers are probably sick to death of it. I did a video once where I talked about how I got into YouTube, but that was several years ago. And looking back, I don't think I told that story particularly well. I tell it a lot better now after talking about it a billion times. Now, at one point, many years ago, I wanted to do something with YouTube because I used to watch a lot of media on YouTube and I thought, wow, this is so much fun. I can have my own YouTube channel. And like a lot of guys, I thought about doing a video game channel. But of course, putting in a little bit of research, studying the market, I realized it was oversaturated because literally every guy had a gaming YouTube channel. So that was just going to be a waste of time. And so I did nothing with that. But then I had bought some camera equipment and, well, actually, I didn't buy the camera equipment first. So my next idea was, all right, I want to do something. So what can I do? What are my hobbies that I would enjoy sharing with people? And one of the things I do like to do is travel. And I enjoy watching Rick Steves' travel channel on PBS. It is extremely calming. He takes you to these different beautiful places throughout the world. A lot of times in Europe, you see cathedrals, monasteries, Italian vistas, Rome. Gorgeous. You should watch his show if you ever get a chance. And I liked it so much, I wanted to emulate that. So I bought camera equipment. The camera that I'm using now, in fact, it's pretty old nowadays. But back then, it was still kind of state-of-the-art when I first bought it. And I spent a lot of money. I bought a few other things to go with. And so I decided to do a pilot. I was going to do this channel by myself, a one-man show. And I took the camera out to the East Valley here in Arizona. I went up to like Canyon Lakes. I stopped at a diner. I got some B-roll of the cooks making some food. And then when I got home and I started putting things together, I realized it would be an incredible amount of work, that there really wouldn't be a feasible way for someone who has a job and a normal life to start this as a side hobby. It just wasn't going to happen. And so I took my camera equipment that I'd spent a bunch of money on and I just sort of shoved it underneath my bed. And that was that. As time passed, I developed different hobbies. I have many, actually, varied. And one of them was learning about sort of like economic history throughout the world. And it's always the train wrecks, the catastrophes that are the most fun to learn about. And so I would spend time reading about the old Soviet Union. They were a communist country, a planned economy. And it was a real disaster for civilian goods, anyways. They had stores, they had general stores in the country, and all the general stores were supposed to stock the exact same products. There would be one type of pasta, one type of yogurt, just one type of everything made by the same company for the entire nation, give or take. I'm sure regionally they had maybe slight differences, but they weren't very significant. And in the entire USSR, they only had 3 different types of bar soaps. And I actually researched it one day. I went on Google, I looked at the pictures. They looked hideous. I read firsthand accounts of people who used those old Russian soaps, and they were awful. They were terrible. So every now and then, back in those days, the Russian diplomats would come to the United States on diplomatic missions, and our people, our diplomats here in America, would always enjoy rubbing their faces in basically free market capitalism. And so our diplomats would take their diplomats to basically any old supermarket, and we had just a dramatic and wide selection of goods. It wasn't like there was one type of pasta, there were 10. There wasn't one yogurt, there were 20. And the same thing goes with bar soaps. We had a lot of bar soaps, compared to the Russians anyways, and all of our bar soaps were significantly better than theirs. I think Dove White was around at that time as well. And so one of the things that the Russians would do, the diplomats, is they would take suitcases and they would just buy up as many bar soaps as they could, because they really don't go bad. They would fly home with their luggage full of bar soaps, and then they would give it to their wives or girlfriends, family members, friends, whoever, because those were considered an import. Those bars of soap, which were sort of regular in the supermarket, were luxury goods in Russia. And so those people in Russia, they were very poor. They had sort of dreary, miserable lives. But when they could get a chance to get something like that, a really neat, cool, imported bar soap, that was a real game changer for them. And I guess I internalized a little bit of that longing for those the soaps. It helped me realize how good we have it in America. Like even our poorest stores, our lowest income places like Dollar General, things like that, they still have really good soaps that you can afford at a very low price point. Another country that I learned about when their economy sort of went kaput was Argentina back in 2015. They had a financial meltdown, and so all the people in the country basically became very poor overnight. And you had the return of multi-generational households. You'd have children, their parents, their grandparents all living under one roof, trying to survive, because the priorities back then were food, then shelter, and if you had any money left over, utilities. But people, money for soaps, that was a real luxury. So anytime someone in the household was able to get their hands on a bar of soap or something like that, they would put it in the communal showers and everyone would get to use it. And that was a real bonding experience. And that sort of impressed upon me how amazing soaps can be. And we really take that for granted here in America. But that wasn't the final piece of the puzzle that got me thinking about starting a YouTube channel devoted to reviewing soaps. I would shop at Costco. I used to have a membership back then. And I would go in there, and I remember one time I needed soap, and I was out. So I'm looking at Costco, and here you had Dove White in the package, and I'd used Dove White before, I knew it was good bar soap, but next to it was the Kirkland Signature Body Bar. And if you've ever tried the Kirkland brand, they're kind of knockoffs of brand name products, but they're good, and they're cheaper, and so you generally always buy them. Now, it wasn't the prettiest packaging compared to the Dove White, but I thought, hey, it's Kirkland Signature, so I bought it. And they don't make that particular bar anymore. They discontinued it, and then I think maybe it's come back, but it's been reformulated, so it's not still the worst bar soap that I've ever used in my life. But it was. I got home, and I took it out, and looking at it, it was just poorly formed, the bar soap itself. Got in the shower with it. The fragrance, it smelled like a freshly mopped McDonald's bathroom floor. And it sort of burned my skin. I could not believe how bad the soap was, so I thought it was a fluke. I went on to Costco's website so I could read reviews, and 9 out of 10 reviews were people talking about ranting, venting about how terrible that bar soap was, and I wanted to do the same. 10% of the people liked it, and I think those folks just did not know better. Maybe that was the first or only soap they'd ever used in their life. Eesh. But that got me thinking. I'm like, well, I want to talk about soap. And there were no other YouTube channels. I looked, and there were no videos talking about the Kirkland Signature Body Bar or really soaps in general, like dedicated to it. And that's when the light bulb went on. I'm like, you know what? I have this camera equipment that's been sitting under my bed, and I sort of do like soaps. I'm fascinated by them. And so that's how I decided to start a YouTube channel. The first year and a half, I only reviewed bar soaps. I'm like, I am the bar soap guy. And that's what I do on this channel is bar soaps, not body washes, just the bars. But luckily my audience, and to those of you out there who were with me way back then, thank you for urging me to expand my horizons and try body washes. And nowadays, body washes, it certainly makes up like 50% of my content. And I'm glad because I actually do like them a lot. The Molton Brown Black Peppercorn Body Wash, that is life-changing, let me tell you. And my channel continued on for a number of years, just sort of prodding along. Once I got noticed by the Tosh.0 show. They have teams of researchers who spend the day on the internet and they look for weird niche YouTube channels. And so their executive producer reached out to me. He located me on Instagram. And I still to this day think I have the best pictures of bar soaps and body washes, bar none, on my Instagram account. And it's called Bar Soap Guy. You can check it out if you like looking at pictures of soaps. Well, he reached out to me in private messaging on there. And at first I was like, no, I know what the Tosh show is. It's kind of a comedy show. It used to be on the Comedy Network. I don't know where they've gone to now. Their major demographic is men. And not that I mind being made fun of. I've got a pretty thick skin. I can take that. I was just more worried that my YouTube channel itself would just be looked at as a joke. And I was like, I don't know. And he worked on me for a good year, to his credit. He would touch base with me and be like, do you want to be on the show? And then eventually I'll loosen up a little bit. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I think it'd be fun. I'd get some exposure. Plus, it didn't hurt that they were going to pay me $1,000. You'd get $100 per diem. They flew me out there. They put me in a hotel. And I got to meet Tosh, also Carrot Top. And it was a great experience. When I was back from filming, that show didn't air for about another 2 months. And I didn't tell any of my coworkers that I had been on the show. I thought, I'm not going to tell anyone, and somehow no one at work will see this nationally televised TV show. I just figured maybe the people I worked with didn't watch the Tosh.0 show. Couldn't have been more wrong. The very next day, the day I did appear on television, I started getting text messages. My coworkers were like, Marvin, do you know you're on the Tosh.0 show right now? Because my coworkers didn't know I had a YouTube channel. I wasn't sure how well that would be received. You know, kind of niche, a little weird maybe. But they loved it. I was like the most popular guy at work the very next day. So that was definitely a weight off of my shoulders. And continued doing my thing. And then I came to TikTok, where I've been extremely successful. I've been so successful on TikTok. Like, you think I've been seen on TV from the Tosh.0 show? No, I actually get recognized from TikTok. Just today, I was out filming in the park, and this woman walked past me. And I had my earbuds in, and I was actually talking to my grandmother at the time, and she's like, "Oh, I've seen you from TikTok. I follow you." And I feel really bad because I would have loved to engage with her. I don't have that many people who recognize me, and I don't mind talking to people. But I was just sort of, well, thank you. Thanks for your support, something like that. And then you can't just cut off your grandmother. So I kept walking anyways. But I thought that was kind of cool. It's still getting used to being recognized every now and then. But I haven't let it go to my head. Don't worry. But I wasn't going to come to TikTok. I was never going to make a TikTok account. I'd heard of it. But what I'd seen from TikTok was through Instagram. And back in the old days, I guess, whatever, a few years ago, anytime I saw TikTok videos, it was just like girls doing these coordinated dances. And I'm like, well, I mean, I don't need a TikTok account. I'm not going to do dances. That's what I thought TikTok was at that time. And what got me into TikTok, oddly enough, so I was trying to pick up this one woman, and she was talking to me. We had some back and forth, and I eventually ended up getting a date with her anyways. But she told me, when I was getting to know her, that her roommate was kind of big on TikTok, and her roommate had 35,000 subscribers. I actually have 148,000 subscribers, and my videos have been seen a few million times now. But at that moment, I thought to myself, oh, well, this is great. I will start a TikTok account, and I'll just get famous really fast, and she will be impressed by that. Didn't happen, though. It took me a little bit of time, but I actually did blow up pretty quickly on TikTok. That didn't go anywhere with her, but I got to tell you, I'm just thankful that chain of events unfolded, because TikTok has been a huge success for me. Yeah, and I actually enjoy it a lot. I mean, I'm over the whole, the Chinese are spying on you and they're taking all of your data. I'm not that important, and I don't know if that's actually happening, but don't really care that much. And I spend way too much time on TikTok. I like watching all the comedy. There's a ton of comedy on TikTok, and everybody has it now too. There's maybe more than 100 million people in America who have TikTok, so it's become completely mainstream almost overnight. But I enjoy doing lives and talking to people. And now I have told a story of how I came to sort of be. This is how you have come to know me. And yeah, there you go. And I don't have to tell that story ever again. So, all right, we're done. I want to thank you for joining me, and I will see you next time.